Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. Jumping into the queue, who do we find to play? Boxcat and Ryan 4PM are playing, both strong players. They're in the middle of some kind of mono-green thing where one of them thinks you should absorb and the other doesn't, it looks to me. Is Boxcat going to be able to get a second rectifier? It seems to me like the Venges are ahead. Oh yeah, especially when you can actually get 4. Wow. I guess you can hold this rectifier and build another, and then you're absorbing a lot, right? But you're not really attacking for much, and they're going to be clicking Venges. Oh, that's so cool. I mean, you get to build a lot of engineers this way. Or forge? I guess if the game goes really long, that's better than just spamming NGs. I'm not sure it goes that long, though. If it does, like, you're winning anyway, right? So I'm not so sure about this forge. A blast forge that you buy for walls for soak is not that great compared to one that you where the walls are actually getting you absorbed. I don't totally understand why Ryan didn't click Avenge this turn either. It's like, I assume that there's some reason that saving to click 2 Venges was better, but I don't see it. Yeah, I think Boxcat's winning here. This is just too much absorb to deal with. Right, you can build wall barrier every turn forever and still live. Wall barrier NG. And that's like if your opponent can click 2 Venges, which they can't do every turn. Your fission turret's dying, but that's okay. All that really matters is that you're doing some damage, right? Well, I guess supplies will be an issue, and like if your fissions time out, maybe? I still think Boxcat is winning. Yeah. Well, we probably get matched with one of these two next, which is going to be a rough game. They're both definitely stronger than I am. Am I in the queue? Yeah, it says so right here. Okay, just checking. We'll watch Extra Tricky versus Balloon for the moment. Whoa. A 6 Tarsier Amparilla versus some Redeemers. I mean, the Redeemer has access to Polywall, though. That's pretty serious. On the other hand, Corpus and Husk, yeah, we have Boxcat. 60 seconds, base plus 8. Huh. Can you get Lucina? Like, there's Infusion Grid. And you can sell back the blue with a Steel Forge. But you're probably happy to have, like, 1 blue. The other thing is, like, green. In fact, maybe blue-green. You can pick up an Infusion Grid and then immediately sell back your blue on Steel Forge and just, like, start getting pretty breach-proof with Steel Forge clicks and Gauss Fab and Cluster. I don't know, though. There's really good blue-green soak with Chieftain, so I don't think you would really want to go breach-proof if you were blue-green, right? I guess if your opponent has red, they threaten Shiver Yetis, but like, are they really going to be able to get 4 of them? And, you know, maybe, but... This is a tough one. I feel like Gauss Fab is kind of too slow for Lucy, but... maybe with Cluster you can be fast enough? Like, that speeds you up a bit, and so does Steel Forge. Oh, it's not going 3rd NG. I think Gauss Fab, Cluster... I think, like, these top 4 units are, like, my... maybe top 5 units are my top picks here. But, like, if you're getting those, isn't 3rd NG kind of okay? You have Infusion Grid, after all? I'm a little afraid of 3rd NG, but I don't know exactly what my opponent would punish me with. I guess the problem is, like, you don't really want that many drones, since you want to get reach-proof. Okay. Let's try this. Do I really do this? It's probably fine, right? You get the Gauss Fab, and then you pick up some blue. Just for, like, that one Infusion Grid, and then the Steel Forge to sell it back. Because it'll be, like, okay, yes, you want to be breach-proof eventually, but in the meantime, wouldn't it be cool to have an Infusion Grid absorbing the first few Gauss Fab hits? And be able to turn your drones into splitters? I don't know. I think I want only one turn of a normal Blast Forge, right? Do I get 2 drones? Probably not, right? Just get another conduit. Then I can grid Steel Forge. Leaves me $4. I don't know, another conduit? Sure. Maybe a couple NGs? They'll be threatening... Are they going to be threatening 5 damage? That's how much they would need to be an issue? 2, and they're not building 3 more, so, well, cluster. They could cluster, I guess. But against that, I always threaten to wall, so I think just building more conduits is fine. I guess they're going to try and go for the Chieftain thing. Maybe that's better. Really? Grenade mechs? This can only mean grenade mechs, can't it? Because otherwise you'd get the Steel Forge. And Chieftain's going to be pretty bad against grenade mechs, so I don't really want to buy those. I could buy my own, but he's already sort of prepared. I just want to go in and get breachproof as soon as possible. Have a splitter factory and Gauss cannon factory, right? Hope for the best. I'm not sure exactly what that's all about. I'm worried about my cluster bolt, I suppose, but... And then I just, like, declare myself breach-proof here? I guess. Probably have to force field some, actually. Yeah, I want to be force fielding to keep the grid alive. Maybe this is a bit much. It's probably fine, though. They're not going to really have flexible attack, so... I don't know. Somehow that is relevant. It makes it easier to get absorb, even though I'm not going to be granular. Right, they have 7 now, so 2 force fields is pretty okay. They get a free splitter hold, but they don't really want to use it. Like, that's only good if they're absorbing on splitter or soaking with splitter, neither of which is very appealing. So it's really a fake exploit. Right, the best defense here is just to lose 2 grids and 2 NGs. The splitter might as well be attacking here. This chieftain, like, is scary for sure. That's the soak that's gonna let him outlive this, I think. If anything does. Maybe with that and grid, I should have been a little bit less gung-ho about this whole breach-proof thing. But I'm sort of committed to doing all this now, and like it's more or less autopilot, I think. Cluster bolt when you can, force field when you have to, click Steel Forge every turn, never hold anything. Unless you can get a free exploit or something, in which case, sure, hold a splitter, I guess. Probably a drone here is actually fine. Next turn I'll have 6 green, right? 2 force fields, 1 splitter click, and a cluster bolt. And a... No, I think this should be an NG, actually. 2 NGs. Now next turn I have a Splitter Click and 2 Force Fields, and then I'm like basically done. Maybe it should be a Conduit to get me up to 6 green? Or 6 green per turn. So I'm building 2 Force Fields on 6 green. Yeah, that's a Cluster Bolt. Okay. Actually, maybe I shouldn't Cluster Bolt this coming turn. Can I deny Chieftain value if I don't? Worth considering. But, I mean, I guess I'm attacking for 16 already. He's easily getting full Chieftain value that way. Excuse me. So we just do this and click everything every turn and see who wins. I'm up quite a lot of attack, but opponent has a lot of drones. If I let them breach for 1, that's really not any worse than breaching for 2, so this seems good. Right, this breach for 2 just like puts an extra damage on a Gauss Cannon. I think I got there. I think I'm killing a bunch of drones, and then I'm way up on attackers. Cool. I'm glad to beat Boxcat. And I want to just sort of gloat at these damage stats that I predicted would be here. Nice. Cool. Cool game. I picked... let me start over. I played a game recently against someone, I don't really remember what game, I know it was on camera, but some player who did a great job of taking advantage of Steelforge's click ability by like buying 1 blue thing. I don't know, I'm not going to find it in the... Never mind. I was going to look through my replays, but I probably won't find it. Let me just look real quick online and I'll see if I can find it. Search replays. Well, I haven't even submitted replays recently, so it won't be there. Alright, doesn't matter. Anyway, someone got a Steelforge when I thought it wasn't such a great idea for some reason. And they sold the blue back by clicking Steelforge every turn. On like, it was kind of a low econ kind of thing. And oh, I think I was thinking about buying Bombarders, and they were like, no, you should really just click Steelforge. And so I'm glad that I played that game, because it reminded me to consider that possibility in this one. There's like... Gauss Fabricator sort of argues for breach proof, and Cluster Bolt synergizes with it, but the two of them together are not really enough to beat Infusion Grid plus Chieftain, I don't think. That's just way too much soak. The sort of higher econ slow line that gets like Gauss Fab, Grid, and then Chieftains would win against a breach proof, like mono green with Gauss and Cluster. But with Steelforge in the set, you don't have to choose. You can get both, right? You can pick up... Well, and importantly, you get to pick up 1 Infusion Grid, which is, like, insane. And then after that, you get to turn your drones into Steel Splitters for free. Almost, right? Without all those Steel Splitters, and without all that absorbed from Infusion Grid, I would have been... Like, my strat would have been laughably bad. And so I'm glad that I saw that coming ahead of time and planned that, right? Like, otherwise, I would have done what my opponent did and go for like Chieftains and Infusion Grids. But you really only want a single blue all game. That is to say, not like a blue per turn, but 1 Bohemium is the amount you want, I think, for that Infusion Grid. And then you just buy the Steelforge to sell off your drones and your Blast Forge. And really pile on the pressure. Would this have been enough without Cluster Bolt? Hard to say. I'm guessing no, because you have just so much green you can't do anything with, and you don't really want to force field that much. So I think that against that, still the Infusion Grid Chieftain would have been better. But all four, or yeah, these 4 units together are enough to overcome the Chieftain Infusion Grid, I think. It would have been really cool to get a Chieftain at some point, but opponent never attacked for enough, right? That was the point of building all this attack, was to keep them on the back foot, building soak instead of attack. And to be perfectly willing to let them just come on in. Right, they still have 10 drones left, which are extremely vulnerable, and I'm like guaranteed to breach this turn. I won't breach all of them, but I'll breach a bunch, and the next turn I'll breach the rest, because they can't defend anymore. And then I'm just up a million attacks. So this was what I saw, what I foresaw coming when I decided to go for Fabricator into Forge, into Steel Forge. Was just buying that 1 grid. Anyway, I'm pleased that it worked. Okay, any tactical shots that were missed here? Well, okay, so first of all, I don't understand why my opponent got that second Blast Forge. Could they possibly have forgotten Steel Forge was in the set after I bought Steel Forge on that same turn? It's hard to imagine. And so I can't help but think that they wanted grenade mechs and to sell back the blue that way. What's hard for me to understand is what my opponent thought I was going to do where I would give a shit about grenade mechs, right? Or where you'd even be able to buy some. Like, I have so much green, I'm clearly clustering. And I don't have enough econ to really make Chieftain credible on 2 blue. So I think if you look at what I've done, like, the only possible conclusion is that I'll be clicking the Steel Forge. But, like, right, what else would I do here? I guess I have 13 income. I could try to build Grid Chieftain every turn and Cluster Bolts somewhat regularly. I guess I could do that. But I think if I wanted to do that, I wouldn't get this 5th conduit. Or honestly, the 4th, probably. I would just work on more drones, because that's a pretty high econ thing to do. Build Chieftains and Infusion Grids. So I think if I am doing that, you're going to kill me, because you're way up on drones and you're going to be doing the same thing. So, okay, I think my opponent just misread what I was doing and didn't really see this coming. And tried to respond in a universe where they thought I was crazy, instead of one where I was doing something reasonable. Why couldn't I have beaten this guy in a league game, huh? I think he 3-0'd me. Oh well, that was a while ago. Something I should have done more of was planning out my next turns. Like here I did. I planned out my next turn because it was pretty important to get it right and whether I could build another drone or should build a 4th conduit or what. And I planned out, okay, yes, I can get these 3 things and they're all things I want. Great. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, I guess I didn't mention it, but these Cluster Bolts are especially good this turn because opponent's not over the Absorb barrier yet. So the first one is free. It doesn't even hurt, it doesn't cost me any damage. The second one, yeah, okay, it costs me a damage, but you know, every Cluster Bolt is going to cost me damage from now on. I might as well just get them as fast as I can to keep him from buying attackers. It would have been nice to buy one like the turn before as well, because I ended up attacking for 2 into a grid, which sucks a lot. But here it like costs me an NG, and it would just be a 3 damage Cluster Bolt. Yeah, that would be terrible. Okay, never mind. It wouldn't be good at all. But I think that like at this point the game basically was just click Forge, force field enough to live, Cluster Bolt when you can. And yes, I gave him a fake exploit here, as I mentioned in the game. I guess this was a turn where I planned out my next turn pretty carefully. It's got those 2 NGs. I don't know. Maybe it should have been a conduit. Probably not, though, actually. Because as we saw, I was able to actually defend because of the 2 NGs. This I should have counted out, because that's really valuable. It would probably actually be worth holding a splitter to continue defending. If I needed to. Which, by the way, could I have done that on the next turn? I offered him a breach for 1, when I could have just held a splitter and absorbed, right? I'd still have my grid alive? That seems like a big mistake. Like, I'm clearly winning, so okay, I guess. But I think it was clearly wrong to click this splitter. And if I had held it, I could even have cluster bolted, right? Well, I guess I did cluster bolt. But like this, right? Say, okay, this splitter is turning into a wall now. Well, really, he's turning into an infusion grid, right? Sort of. Because, like, this way, enemy breaches me and, like, damages a Gauss cannon, but who cares about the Gauss cannon? They kill the grid, that's the important thing. Enemies 7 damage, deals 7 damage. If I hold the splitter, then their 7 damage kills 4 health worth of stuff. And also I attack for 1 less, right? So, yeah, this is sort of like 2 health missed if you assume that health and damage are worth the same, which they're not here, but as an approximation, it's okay. Yeah, I missed this click cost me like at least 2. Arguably more, because I could have on future turns maybe continued to defend by holding splitters. Although I'd probably have to hold 2. And I'm not sure how worthwhile that would be. But let's just look at it real quick here. I mean, I don't know. Let's say opponent like does the utmost they can to defend. This does it, right? This defends. Clearly they're losing, so they could resign at this point. But I just want to see like how much better it is for me, even though both positions are winning. Now they're attacking for 8, which is a bit awkward. But they're not really. They're probably only attacking for 7, right? If they absorb onto splitter, like, best wishes, enjoy. I could cluster bolt here, but that actually kills my own infusion grid, or makes me hold back a splitter. So I think I shouldn't cluster bolt. Oh, ha! I forgot to even hold back a single splitter. Wait, what? Yeah, I still need to hold back 1 splitter. What is happening? How many? I got completely lost. So this was the turn when I adjusted. And here's them killing... Oh, I lost too many NGs. Okay. Now this defends. And assuming they lose the splitter, which they must. And like, I actually never even get breached. Well, I'll probably get breached soon. But not if I want to keep holding splitters, I can do that. I don't know. Opponent does this to keep all Gauss cannons alive, maybe. I can get some chip damage on a Gauss cannon. Cluster bolt myself to remove the exploit. And yeah, I actually think I can prevent getting breached if I want. Oh, opponent should cluster bolt me, right? Okay, you got me. I'm breached. Oh well. I probably should have been buying more cluster bolts in this analysis anyway, but I wanted to see if I could not get breached. Yeah, so that's the thing about the splitters, is like, they're not just better like, in a breach-proof game, which is better, Splitter or Gauss Cannon? Obviously Gauss Cannon, right? But in a sort of breach-proof game where you're transitioning to being breached, but you'd like to delay it, Splitters are solid gold, right? Each of these Splitters has 6 health, kind of. Because you can hold it, and like, it lets Infusion Grid continue to absorb, giving me 3 health per turn. Now, you have to pay 1 damage for that, and so it's like actually pretty close to a Gauss Cannon. But, like, I was building them for free, so they're great. Okay, I don't know. Enough about this game. And I guess half an hour is a fine time for the video. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.